Hi everyone, welcome to my presentation. As you probably know, I am Juris Curtin, your reporter for today. And in today's video, I will be discussing the object relations theory of Heinz Kohut. So let's begin. Heinz Kohut was a 20th century psychoanalyst who expanded the field of self-psychology. He was born in Vienna, Austria on May 3, 1913. He was homeschooled until 1924 when he entered public school at the age of 11. He learned to speak French and Greek and studied European literature and biology. He began his secondary education in medicine at the University of Vienna, where he developed an interest in psychoanalysis. He spent 1 year studying in Paris and graduated in 1938. Kohut fled the Nazis in Austria in 1939 because his father was Jewish. He traveled to England and then to the United States, where he worked at the University of Chicago hospitals. He gradually transitioned to psychoanalysis and eventually became a lecturer in psychiatry at the university. He served as president of the American Psychoanalytic Association in 1964 and vice president of the International Psychoanalytic Association beginning in 1965. A staunch defender of traditional psychoanalytic theory, Kohut often referred to himself as Mr. Psychoanalysis, although later in his career he rejected Sigmund Freud's structural theory and developed a new theory of the self. Object relations is a variation of psychoanalytic theory that diverges from Sigmund Freud's belief that humans are motivated by sexual and aggressive drives, suggesting instead that humans are primarily motivated by the need for contact with others, the need to form relationships. An object relations therapist aims to help an individual in therapy uncover early mental images that may contribute to any present difficulties in one's relationships with others and adjust them in ways that may improve interpersonal functioning. In basic concepts in object relations, in the context of object relations theory, the word object refers not to inanimate entities but to significant others to whom a person or individual relates, and this is usually those close to a person like the parents or the primary caregivers. Although in some cases, object can also be used to refer to a part of a person, such as a mother's breast or even the mental representation of significant others. Early family experiences, especially a mother-infant relationship, are crucial in personality development, according to this theory. Infants are thought to create mental impressions of themselves in relations to others, and these molded internal images have significant impact on and effect on their interpersonal relationships later in life. Relationships are important to one's life and play a major role in it. Relationships are critical and play a significant role in this theory, so the term object relations has been described as the complex internalized relationships between the self and significant others. A representation of an object may exist as the following. Number 1 is the object as perceived by the self. Number 2, the self in relation to the object. And number 3, the relationship between self and object. During infancy, internal objects are created by frequent interactions with one's caregiver. The images are subjectively created by an infant's limited cognitive ability and do not inherently represent reality. These mental images grow over time in unhealthy development. In unhealthy development, they remain immature. Internal images have enduring qualities and can be used for a variety of purposes. Kohut began to develop a view of the self with 4 basic components, beginning with the nuclear self, a biological construct that infants are born with. The virtual self is an image of the baby retained by her parents. The combination of the nuclear self and virtual self should lead to the next component, a cohesive self, but trauma, abuse, and other problems during development can prevent this. The grandiose self is the 4th component and is an egocentric form of the self that results from feelings of being the center of the universe during early infancy. Kohut believed that a parent's failure to empathize with a child was at the heart of nearly every psychological problem. Kohut self-psychology is built around this belief, emphasizing that psychological problems and maladaptive coping strategies are the results of unmet developmental needs. Like for example, when a frightened child's need to be comforted is not satisfied, he or she could go into an overly cautious or excessively risk-taking adult. Empathy is the most important therapeutic tool in self-psychology because, according to Kohut, it can help undo some of the damage caused by unmet developmental needs. Kohut argues that empathy in itself can have healing effects, but also notes that empathy can be used as an intellectual tool that gains the client's trust, thus allowing the therapist to gain more useful information and develop effective therapeutic strategies. Kohut introduced several new terms to the field, including self-objects, which are objects that individual experiences as being part of oneself. These objects may also include people. For example, an infant might see his or her parents as an extension of self. Optimal frustration is a form of tolerable frustration and disappointment when a child needs access to a self-object but one is not available. He or she might experience frustration. Optimal frustration occurs when a person experiences frustration that can lead to the development of new coping skills. For example, when a mother soothes a baby who can no longer sleep with a pacifier, this enables the baby to develop the ability to function without the pacifier. Twin-shaped need is a desire to feel similar to other humans. Triple self. These are three fundamental needs, which include needs for grandiose, exhibitionism, needs for an alter ego, and needs for an idealized figure. During the 1970s, Kohut's theory of self-psychology gained popularity rapidly. Many people who struggled with the guilt resulting from the material indulgence and self-serving behaviors saw self-psychology as a more positive and understanding approach to therapy than traditional psychoanalysis. Because of its accepting approach, self-psychology has become one of the foundations of modern psychology, along with the articulations, ego psychology, and the theory of drive and motivation. In his theory, Kohut focused on the self and narcissism. Most theories express a negative views of narcissism, but Kohut felt it served an essential role in the development of individuality. Early childhood is a time of vitality. Children are exuberant, expansive, and creative. Kohut was interested in the fate of his vitality and how it can be preserved into adulthood. The development of a healthy self depends on three kinds of self-object experience. Self-objects are the adult who cares for the child, and they need to provide physiological and psychological needs. First, a child needs self-objects who confirm the child's vitality, who look on the child with joy and approval. In the first basic narcissistic process known as mirroring, the child can see itself as wonderful through the eyes of others. An important aspect of mirroring is empathy, a state in which the mother and the child share their feelings if they were one. The second type of self-objects satisfy the child's need to be involved with powerful others. People the child can look up as the image of calmness, control, and omnipotence. This second basic narcissistic process known as idealizing allows the child to experience the wonder of others and to consider itself special due to its relationship with them. Finally, the child needs to experience others who are open and similar to the child, allowing the child to sense an essential likeness between the child and the self-object. The child will be able to develop a healthy narcissism if the various relationships and processes have been met, which would give the child a realistic sense of self-esteem. Given that the child is surviving in a healthy environment and can deal with the occasional frustrations and disappointments. So, one question arises. How will these self-objects relate to and are incorporated into the child's sense of self? As it has been mentioned earlier, mirroring serves as the first important step. As a child observes her parent and what gives them joy, also consider it as something wonderful. This is similar to when a child observes self-object that are calm and powerful. The self-object that the child has idealized will be projected with the child in his utmost best. Correspondingly, the child then sees those self-objects as wonderful, and he is with those self-objects. The child would then think that he must be wonderful too. Thus, the child strengthens his own self, building the good narcissism in comparison to others. This process is seen during psychoanalytic sessions with individuals who have not developed a healthy sense of the self. Those individuals would exhibit and portray three types of self-object transference. Transference, the patient's transference, according to object relation theory, is an expression of their internal object relationships within the therapeutic relationship. Mirroring transference, the attention of the analyst allows the patient to feel more real and more internally substantial. Idealizing transference. The patient comes to believe that the analyst is a powerful and an important person, and thus makes the patient should also be valued as a result of being associated with the analyst. Twin-shift transference. The patient would feel as if they are a companion to the analyst in the process of therapy. So that's it for today. Thanks for watching.